So now I wanted to chime in as to what Tuan has done. He has shown you how capable NetSuite is of essentially forming certain kinds of KPI oriented dashboard information. There is no coding involved, as he has shown you. And all the data is coming from transactions in the system. So everything is up to date. So very typically in the schools we used to run into, whenever we met them, they always could have accurate data about once a month. Then they would, until the next month, they would accumulate this information and then match it up again. So for a few days in a month, the data was fairly accurate, and then they would have to accumulate again. NetSuite is not like that. NetSuite accumulates information from daily transactions of all kinds, and so that any report that you get is always an amalgamation of information from those transactions. Now, Mr. Duong had asked about what about multiple schools? So this is a good segue now into one of our customers that we invited to come and share time with us. So thank you, Mr. Eli, for joining us. So I'll just explain where Mr. Eli works. He works at Far Eastern University. It is a large educational group, so he it's one of the larger educational entities in the Philippines. And they are using this not only for their university, they're also using this also for their K-12 schools, as well as something that just started a few years ago in the Philippines called senior high schools, which are 11th and 12th grade schools. So, so we're going to ask Ellie maybe how many subsidiaries do they have? How many schools are they running in their group? Maybe Ellie, you can tell us.
Hi, Nana. How are you?
Fine,
So
thank
it's
you.
great. It's great to come here now to join you. Yeah, hi everyone. So currently we have 6 subsidiaries, and we also have another one that is actually we also have another one that is being partnered, not really a subsidiary, but a 50-50 partnership with another school somewhere in southern Luzon.
I see. Right. So, and so what has happened with them is that when I met them in their journey to some kind of a system before, they were using one system to do their financials and another system to handle their student accounting. And then they would match these things up, you know, every month, and that and pass a journal in their book of accounts. Now, as they do things, everything just gets fed into NetSuite. And so the student accounting and the general accounting are now together. And each of these schools is its own subsidiary. So if they want to study the performance of a school one at a time, they can do that. And if they want to do this, the whole group together, the CFO can look into this. The registrar who is responsible for each school can look into his or her information, and somebody, the head of the group, can also look at the performance of the group as a whole. So maybe Rita, you're going
Yeah.
to ask some questions of Mr. Eli.
Yes, Nana. Thank you so much for that. All right. Hi, Ellie. So you
Hi.
are, yeah, hopefully soon you will be in front of all the Vietnam, schools later on. But for now, we are virtually meeting them. So I just have a question. I'm sure people here can relate, Ellie. Okay. So before NetSuite, soft type, can you brief us on your financials and the systems that you're using? And after that, can you tell us about top three or top four challenges you have encountered before us, NetSuite soft type?
Yeah, our financial system before, Nana mentioned about the GL posting, because in our previous system, the posting to the GL is batch processing. We need to wait for a week to process all of the entries within the week and post it in our GL by batch. And it was difficult for us, especially if we are in our audit season. We could not wait to finish the week in order to have it batch processed and see the final numbers. The second challenge that we experienced in the past is our fixed assets depreciation, because in the past it was done manually. So imagine if you are in the accounting and you do the assets depreciation, it's really difficult. And um, FEU has been in the education sector since 1920s. And oh, by the way, the logo that Soft Type showed here is from our subsidiary, the FEU Institute of Technology, 1992. So the mother school was established in 1920s, and imagine our assets that were accumulated through time were computed manually. So it was really difficult. And the third difficulty or challenge that we had at that time before NetSuite was the use of a report. Our reporting tool before was Crystal Reports. And in order to generate the report, the user should have a license. And it's a named user license. So we really had difficulty having a limited number of license. And as the school were growing, the number of users were also growing, but we could not afford the cost of having a large number of license just to generate reports. And the fourth challenge that we had was the maintenance of our manual ledgers. We had budget records, we had supply or stock inventory records that were manually maintained, meaning they were maintained in index cards. So imagine we were it was like a Jurassic, no? And not only that, we also had challenges in terms of our tax reports when reporting to our Internal Revenue, Bureau of Internal Revenue. It's a government agency. So we had a manual generation of financial statements. So for the GL, for generating the purchasing books, the cash disbursement, cash receipts, etc., etc. So those were the perhaps the four big challenges we had, not to mention the other challenges that we had. And I remember also, on top of that four challenges, our school systems, our enrollment operation is having a life of its own, meaning it was not integrated to our financial operations. So having a report that contains numbers from our enrollment operations and our financial services operations, it would take time. It would take perhaps a week to generate a consolidated number from just one school. Now imagine if we are consolidating the whole subsidiaries. So it was a real pain for us.
Right, right. Actually, there's guests here who are also consolidating 50 locations and subsidiaries, right? Or more than
Oh,
20.
yeah.
So, Ellie, can you imagine the migraine? And as you say the word, right? Everybody, Jurassic. It is really giving you that sickness every day, Ellie. And thank you for explaining that in a very simple fashion, Ellie. Appreciate it. No? I'm sure that the guests like the way you have explained it as a school administrator and leader. No, even before the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay. So another one. So with all the challenges that you faced, the problems that you faced, what really prompted you as FEU, as a school, to subscribe to NetSuite and to the soft type implementation of edERP? What really prompted you?
Oh, one of the things that perhaps convinced our board is the integration of the integrated nature of edERP and NetSuite, because edERP is residing in NetSuite, right? So it's within NetSuite. So with that, we don't have to do manual handling of enrollment transactions, meaning transacting or extracting it from the enrollment system and then do some manual cleaning of data and migrate or upload it to NetSuite or to our financial system. We don't have to do that anymore. In real time, as the transaction happens, they are immediately posted in the general ledger. So with that, the handling of enrollment transactions, the manual, before we manually record the charging of our students, but with edERP and NetSuite, we can now see the financial transactions plus the courses that were taken the students right in front right in front of us as the student select their preferred courses. So with an integrated system, of course, our reports were able to present numbers from both enrollment and financial operations. Second, what we really like with NetSuite edERP is the real-time posting of transactions. Anytime our CFO can generate from his dashboard the reports that he needs. We actually placed in his dashboard his requested reports. And even he can generate his reports on his own for ad hoc reporting. He can generate it on his own. Third is the full online nature of NetSuite. You don't have to worry with installation with our users. Any browser will do, and as long as there is an internet, our customers or students, teachers, and employees are able to perform their job. No, they were able to perform their task. And recently, with the pandemic, it proved the flexibility of doing our task using NetSuite. In fact, our operations did not experience a halt at all. It did not stop at all. Our operations continued even if we shifted from the on-site operations to full remote working. And then lastly, I can also remember here the reason why we chose edERP NetSuite is our enrollment policies. We had a lot of enrollment policies that are generic to or peculiar to FEU. So all of these policies were embedded in our system, in the edERP system. And with that, we were able to remove our paper transactions and face-to-face academic advising. We don't have that anymore. And the approval of requests are all done online. So say, for example, a student wants to deload a number of units, or he wants to request for overload or simultaneously take a course, he can do that online. So in the past, we had a lot of papers and manual approval. So right now, everything is done online. And knowing that, our management were able to see our vision of having an online and paperless transaction. So we did not worry. Aside also from that, we did not also worry with control because it is inherently available in the system. So as of now, those are the four things I could remember, I could recall No,
Ellie, that's just you're
I
just
just did.
saying.
I just don't
You're
have
just,
much time to discuss
yeah.
everything.
It's good, Ellie. Thank you so much for that. We can really feel the balanced life that you have, and that you have less migraine as a FEU family.
Yeah, correct.
And so, guys, you have heard it live from a school, a very large, school, in the region. So if you want to befriend Ellie, just take his number, and I'll take care of you, Ellie. Thank you so much. Yeah. So just one last, Ellie. I hope you don't mind. So, if I ask you one adjective, okay, about the whole effect, because we're selling software, but this is all about work-life balance, right?
Correct. Correct.
It's saving time and money to all the people who's here in the Zoom call. So if there's one adjective that you can explain to us now, what do you feel as a user of NetSuite and SoftType, edERP? What is that it brought to your FEU community?
Um, word, one word, just one word,
One, two words, one or
One
two
or two
words.
words.
And
What I
really
want to
describe
highlight actually is the
it.
relationship. Soft type is easy to deal with. If we were in need, we can contact them anytime. Although I'm not saying that soft type can be easily abused, but my point is that they are really open to having a good relationship with their client, and I can feel the genuine care to our needs beyond the letters of plain business. Actually, I can mention Nana, knowing she's the CEO of SoftType, right? But I
CEO
appreciate
and
her.
founder.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah,
CEO
CEO and
and
founder.
founder. Yes.
Yeah, and I appreciate her going out her way to help us with her people in times of very urgent